Have you ever found yourself trapped in a loop of negative thoughts, especially after a difficult relationship? In today's video, I am shining a light on rumination, specifically how it can be triggered by narcissistic relationships. We'll explore the reasons why people ruminate, the signs that indicate that you might be getting caught in this cycle, and most importantly, I'll talk about some practical strategies to help you break free. If you've been affected by a narcissistic partner, understanding rumination is key to reclaiming your peace of mind. So let's dive in and take the first steps towards healing. What I want to do is just very briefly talk about some reasons why people ruminate. It's certainly a phase that some people go through and others don't, and that's totally normal. The most common idea behind rumination is that by doing so, you'll gain insight into a particular problem. And those who are most affected and have a tendency to ruminate are people who have certain codependent signs like perfectionism, anxiety, or an excessive concern about their relationships with other people. People often find themselves ruminating due to strong emotions like sadness or anger, which can keep those negative thoughts looping in their mind. Past conflicts, unresolved issues, especially in relationships, narcissistic relationships, make it very difficult to move on as individuals might replay arguments or conversations in their head. And this is often compounded by fears of repeating the mistake after a setback, and it can lead to further overthinking. Low self-esteem and perfectionism can also fuel rumination, causing people to fixate on their perceived flaws, their failures, and things like that. For those who have experienced trauma or have been in a narcissistic relationship, which is trauma, the cycle can be even more intense. People will struggle to make sense of their feelings and their experiences as well. Recognizing these triggers is a crucial step towards breaking free from this mental loop that a lot of people get stuck in. And it's really important to recognize the signs of rumination as they relate to being in a narcissistic relationship. So let's talk about that. Number one, constantly revisiting thoughts. Somebody in a narcissistic relationship might repeatedly replay interactions with their partner, trying to make sense of the gaslighting or other form of manipulation that they've experienced. Number two, difficulty concentrating. The emotional turmoil caused by a narcissist can lead to a real inability to focus on daily tasks or conversations, as people are usually preoccupied with their partner's behavior. Number three, restlessness and or agitation. Feelings of anxiety or agitation can arise from the unpredictability of a narcissistic partner, making it hard to find any calmness or peace. And if you've dealt with a narc for any length of time, you know the last thing that they're concerned about is you feeling safe or secure. Number four, sleep issues. Ruminating about the relationship dynamics, including any kind of fighting or whatever it was, their cruel remarks, their devaluing, can lead to things like insomnia, disrupted sleep, and let's not forget about nightmares as well. Number five, physical symptoms. The stress of navigating a relationship with a narc can manifest in physical symptoms, headaches or stomach aches because of the ongoing emotional strain. And those physical issues, headaches and stomach aches, for some people can only really just be the beginning. It can absolutely get worse. And so we'll move from physical right into number six, the emotional distress. Individuals might experience really heightened feelings of sadness or frustration or worthlessness as they struggle to reconcile their self-image with the negative messages from a narcissistic partner. We know they destroy your ego, they destroy your self-esteem, and just make you feel terrible about yourself. Number seven, isolation. A person might withdraw from friends, family. They can feel shame, they can feel misunderstood or scared. And those things are often used by narcissists to maintain control. They will try to isolate people. Number 8, overanalyzing the interactions. After conversations, after fights, after breakups, individuals might obsess over every little detail, word, gesture, trying to decode it. But all they're doing is trying to decode mixed signals, and they're seeking validation or clarity. A lot of people end up doing that. You're looking for some kind of validation that you were with someone toxic and abusive. Dealing with narcissistic abuse can be incredibly challenging. And that's why I offer a flexible phone chat service tailored to fit into anyone's busy life. You can connect with me, a survivor who genuinely understands what you're going through. My service is very relaxed, affordable, and creates an incredibly supportive environment that just feels like a conversation between two friends and not a cold, formal, stuffy little therapy session. We'll share experiences as fellow survivors, and I can also provide tips that are designed especially for you. I'll validate your experience while being the listening ear that I know every survivor needs. If you have any questions or you want to learn more, don't hesitate to reach out. All the ways to do that are on the screen for you now. I'm a phone call away and ready to support you on your path to healing. So if you find yourself engaging in some of these activities that I just spoke on, and the thoughts become very bothersome, overwhelming, you feel as if it might become an obsession, or you feel maybe it already is, and the thoughts are intrusive into your day-to-day life, those are pretty good signs that you're ruminating. Luckily, there are lots of things that you can do to begin to slow the rumination process. So the first thing that we have to talk about when it comes to that is distractions. When a person begins to ruminate, finding a distraction can actually break the cycle, which is the first thing that anyone should attempt to do. It'll get you going in a different direction. When I was personally going through this, I made a rule for myself. When the thoughts began to creep in and they disrupted my day and they bothered me, I would get up and leave whatever room I was in, stop what I was doing at the time, and do something else. In those moments, I was both mentally and physically changing up what I was doing in order to break the cycle. Did it always work? No, of course not. But what it does is get you in a habit of at least attempting to break the pattern. Grab a book and head into a different room. Find a comfy spot in your home and grab your phone and call a friend. Put on your shoes, head out of the house, and do some exercise. Something different in a different place. Along with distractions, I need to add this here as well. Now, distractions are great. They're going to help you try to break the cycle and get your mind on something else. But what really works is when you add in passion and purpose along with the distractions. The distractions are just to kind of break the cycle in the moment. But long term, we got to talk passion and purpose. I've said it for years now that finding things we're passionate about, finding areas in the world where we can really dive in, hyper-focus, make a difference, all that stuff, greatly increases and propels our healing. When you work on something that you have a passion for, guess what you're not worried about? You see how trivial a lot of those thoughts are, if you even still have those thoughts at all. You really begin to understand most of what happened, that it can't be fixed or changed, and things are going to roll on. If you don't have a passion, your passion should be finding one. If you don't maybe feel like there's any purpose, which I felt that way a lot, I can promise you, your passion and purpose is not to sulk and ruminate over a shitty narcissist. And to that, let's move on to number 2. What can you actually change? One of the most vital things I feel that anyone can learn is to work out what you can change and what you can't. To learn that something you can't change isn't worth thinking about is like so huge in the healing process. Instead of going in circles, you just throw out the things you can't change and you don't have to worry about them anymore. There's no need to focus on stuff that you can't fix. And instead, what you do is you take all the things you can fix or you can change, and you begin to make plans based off of that. You make plans as small as you need to, break it down into as many steps as it takes. Making small plans, taking small steps and small changes leads towards bigger ones and begins to break the cycle of rumination. Number 3, getting some perspective. We often find ourselves ruminating when we think that we've messed up. We said the wrong thing or we're responsible for something going wrong. Like with a narcissist, we feel responsible to pick up their responsibility. We feel like we're the reason why the relationship has failed. And taking a step back can really help you see things more clearly. For example, if you've made a mistake, let's just say at work, you might try to think about how big your mistake really was, because it probably wasn't that bad. Remember a similar situation from the past and how it turned out. Always apologize if you need to, especially apologize to yourself, because keep in mind, everybody makes mistakes. Number 4, adjusting your goals. Setting really high or unrealistic goals can make you feel like you are constantly failing. And that just unfortunately leads to more rumination. Like I said a moment ago about making plans, set achievable goals, short-term goals, maybe long ones as well. Maybe some goals that are a little bit harder to reach, but have the steps to get there. This can actually help you reduce stress and overthinking. People who have goals actually think a lot less about the negative things going on in their life. Number 5, boost your self-esteem. A lot of people who ruminate struggle with self-esteem. There's a link between low self-worth and rumination. So to build your self-esteem, focus on your strengths and appreciate what you do well. I always tell people gratitude journal, even if you hate journaling. Gratitude journaling can literally change your life, and it's the easiest thing. If you have 3 minutes a day, you can do it. It's crazy. Number 6, try meditation or deep breathing. Meditation is all about clearing your mind, and it can help to stop some of those ruminating thoughts that you're having. If you catch yourself stuck in a loop, find a quiet place, sit down, and take some deep breaths. It can actually be very calming. Number 7, know your triggers. Pay attention to when you start ruminating. What time of day is it? What's going on? Who's around? What have you been doing? Understanding your trigger can help you manage the thoughts. Do you ruminate more in the morning? Well, instead of sitting around maybe and just scrolling through your phone, take the dog for a walk. Or maybe if you have a long drive to work and that's when you ruminate about it, call a friend instead of just sitting alone with your thoughts. You don't have to do all of this alone. Number 8, chat with a friend. Like I just said, ruminating can make you feel really isolated, but talking to a trusted friend can actually give you a fresh perspective. You can ask them to help you list some successes or just to remind you that things are going to turn out okay. Proceed with caution. Chatting with friends can often turn into seeking validation from them, and that is a slippery slope to go down because the way you saw the relationship, the way you see the reality, might not be the way your friend does. And it doesn't make them right, it doesn't make them wrong. But nobody else is going to see the relationship or this person probably exactly the way you do. Remember, you are the only you, and you are the only one that you can really go off of in your relationship with them. No one else is going to have that experience, but you can certainly reach out and chat with people to just boost you up and help you a little bit, and just talk to somebody positive and supporting. Number 9, consider therapy. If the ruminating thoughts are really taking over, therapy might be a good option because a therapist can help you figure out maybe why you're stuck in this cycle and how to tackle the root. Cognitive behavioral therapy, otherwise known as CBT, is especially useful for finding new ways to handle the situation. It's just pretty much talk therapy. While you're talking, you're processing, and if you work with a professional, you might find some things that really work for you. Number 10, set realistic expectations. Again, if those goals are too high, you're going to feel inadequate. You're going to have those negative thoughts like I'll never be good enough or I should have known better. Take some time and reevaluate what you realistically want to achieve and adjust your expectations accordingly. There is no rule or law, survivor, that says you have to be perfect. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe for more videos on narcissism and how to heal. If you have tips or experiences about this that you would like to share, leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.